Word problems first for the review. And we are going to start with number 1, which says a driveway that is 25 meters long is built on an incline. It has a risen distance of 4 meters. By the time it reaches from one end to the other, what is the angle of elevation of the driveway? Okay, what did you do?
So I did the hypotenuse as 25, and then the opposite is 4, and then I used sine -1, and so then opposite over hypotenuse would be 4 over 25, and then it equals approximately 9 degrees.
Thank you. Number 2. All right, guys, number 2 states, each step of a stairway rises 18 centimeters for the tread, width of 32. What is the angle does the stairway make with the floor? Okay, go ahead.
We got 18 on, or we got 54 on the
bottom because you did 18 times 3. Good.
And then we used tan and we put 54 over 96 and got 29, 36.
Okay, and they get 96 in the bottom because they did 32 times 3. And if you were going to round it to the nearest degree instead of 29.36, it would be 29. Good. Number 3. Come on, guys, let's go. Let's try to make this a little bit faster. The top string of a kite makes an angle with the ground of 65 degrees. The length of the string is 300 feet. What is the height of the kite to the nearest tenth?
We did the hypotenuse 300, and it said to find the height, so the opposite would be x. And we did sine of the angle 65, and we cross multiplied and got
271.9 feet. Good. Number 4, come on up. A ladder 400 centimeters long leans against a building. If the angle between the ground and the ladder is 67 degrees, how far from the wall is the bottom of the ladder? Round to the nearest tenth. Okay.
We did adjacent over hypotenuse and the cosine of 67, and then we cross multiplied and got 156.3.
Good. We did 400 as the string because we know the string goes sideways. We wanted to find the ground, so the distance on the bottom. So we used cosine and got 156.3 centimeters. Number 5, come on up. An observation tower is 55 meters high. A support wire is attached to the tower 18 meters from the top. If the support wire and the ground form an angle of 47 degrees, what is the length of the support wire to the nearest tenth? Okay. So, what did you guys do?
Explain it.
Okay.
It was 55 for the whole thing, and then at the top it was 18. That's where the cross little mark is. And then if you subtracted 18 from 55, it equaled 37. So then you had to solve for the hypotenuse, which is where the x is, and then you use sine, and you do 37.
Slow your words down.
So you get 37 equals, excuse me, not 37. 47, sine of 47 equals 37 over
x,
which gives us 50.6 meters. Okay, so one more time because this is the hardest one I think on the test tomorrow. We're given the whole length is 55, but it says 18 miles from the top. So we have to, I think it's 18 meters, but whatever. So we have to go down 18, so we subtract it, giving us 32.
Is this going to be the exact one on the test?
With different numbers. Okay, and we have to find the hypotenuse. Okay, so that's why we had to cross multiply here. And it's one of the ones where you get x sine equals 37, and then you have to divide. Okay, so this is one of the divide ones. There aren't many on the quiz either that this, so it had 2 parts. 1 you had to subtract, 2 you had to divide instead of multiply to get the last answer at the end. Okay, number 6. The base of a rectangle measures 9 feet and the altitude measures 6 feet. Find to the nearest degree the measure of the angle that the diagonal makes with the base.
So it said that the base of the rectangle is 9 feet, so that was the adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
And it says the altitude is 6, so that's the opposite.
Okay.
And we're trying to find the angle that it makes with the base. So we did tan, -1, and we got x equals 34.
Approximately 34 degrees. Good. Number 7. An airplane which has taken off from an airport traveled a ground distance horizontal of 3,670 feet. What is the angle of elevation from the point of takeoff to the point where the plane has traveled 4,160 feet through the air? Round to the nearest degree.
Okay, so we put the 3,670 feet on the bottom because that's the distance, like
On the
traveled
ground,
on the
yeah.
ground. And then we put the 4,160 feet where the hypotenuse was because that's the distance it traveled from the ground to the air.
Yep. And so you used which function?
We use cosine to
Because you
find
have the adjacent and the...
the hypotenuse.
And your final answer is?
28 degrees.
Thank you. Number 8. An observer is 130 feet from the base of a television tower that is 160 feet tall. Find the nearest degree, the angle of elevation of the top of the tower from the point where the observer stands. Okay. So we put 130 on the base, 160 on the side. So tell me how you did this now.
We did 130 on the base, which was our adjacent, then 160 on the side, which was our opposite. And opposite and adjacent is tan.
Good.
So tan x equals 160 over 130. Then we did tan -1, which is 160 over 130 still. Then
Yeah.
we divided 160 and 130, which gave us our answer.
Yep, tan, you have to put inverse tan, 160 over 150. You have to put the whole thing in the calculator at once. Don't forget that. And you get 51 degrees. Okay, you're going to have word problems just like this on the quiz tomorrow. So please make sure you are ready for them. Okay, now let's turn to the back. And we will go over the answers to the back. I had some people a little confused by the whole theta thing. Theta is that weird circle with the line through it. That just means x. That's what the same thing. It's just a variable. It shouldn't have thrown you off. I did explain it in class yesterday. Some of you didn't hear me. So number 9, we used inverse cosine and found that it was 23 degrees. Number 10, we used inverse tan and got 17 degrees. Number 11, we used inverse tan and got 50 degrees. What? Do I have to round? Yes. It'll say on the test tomorrow to round the angles to the nearest degree and to round the side lengths to either the nearest tenth or the nearest hundredth. Tenth is 1 place after the decimal, hundredth is 2. Number 12, we used inverse cosine and got 48 degrees. Number 13, we used inverse tan and got 29 degrees. And 14, we used inverse tan and got 45 degrees. Out of those first 6, are there any questions you had about them? I know walking around, I had some people get opposite and hypotenuse mixed up or adjacent hypotenuse. Okay, yes. Any questions or we just... Okay, I'm going to move on to 15. 15, the side length x, we used cosine and got 2.05. Number 16, we used cosine and got 13.77. That was one where you had to cross multiply and then divide. That was one of those harder ones. Yeah. So we've got adjacent is 11, x is hypotenuse. We're good there, right? So we knew to use cosine. So cosine of 37 equals, make sure you put adjacent on top, hypotenuse on the bottom, 11 over x. And then you cross multiply x cosine 37 equals 11. Divide by cosine 37, we get x is 13.77. Number 17, we used cosine and got x is 5.5. I don't see yours. Okay. Number 18 is inverse cosine, 37 degrees. Number 19, we used tangent and got the side length x is 8.12. Number 20, we used sine and got that the side length was 6.2. Number 21, we used sine and got the hypotenuse. This is one of those ones where you have to divide. We got 12.88. Number 22, we got 66 degrees. We used inverse cosine. And number 23, one of the last ones where you had to do the divide thing, but we used tangent and got the side length is 4.6. For number 23? Okay, so we did do tan of 41 equals, we put 4 on top and x on the bottom. We cross multiply, we got x tan 41 equals 4, right? And then we divided, so did you divide or times? Because that might have been messed you up. Okay, 4 divided by tan of 41. When I put it in my calculator again, I get 4.6. So I wonder if you just press something weird. So, any other questions? Because it was right, you know, if you had it matched up to there, it was just, sometimes we slip on the calculator. Any others? All right, guys, you have the rest of the hour to work on this. I do expect you to, especially with those word problems. If you got a different answer than we got, you need to do that again, okay? If you got one of these incorrect and you want me to make some new examples, I'm going to put some examples up on the board in just a second that you can try, okay? I'm going to do 6 problems up on the board.
Are you making any more problems? Are you making any more problems?
No. The word problems are a little very similar to this, and I'd rather you work on that. You could cover up your answer to the word problems that you got wrong and try them again. That's my suggestion. Okay, so I am going to stop recording now. Make sure